Hey everybody, this is the making of my End of the Rainbow soap in the Whale of a Tale collection. This soap was a custom make for a collaboration partnership with Hella Handmade Creations. So here you can see I've got my whale embeds that were made ahead of time, and I'm just kind of shaping them to make sure that they're curved into kind of the arched whale shape that I want, and trimming off some of the edges to make sure that they fit in my mold and aren't too long. I don't want to have to fiddle with that when I'm pouring my soap, so they're already pre-measured. Here I'm adding my hot lye solution into my hard oils. I do use a heat transfer method here, so I'm melting those hard oils with my lye and just giving it a good stir. This is probably a minute and a half of footage that's just sped up. But you just want to whisk until all of your hard oils are melted all the way. Here I add my fragrance, which is Green Irish by Nature's Garden. You can see it does tint the soap batter a little bit, but that does go away in the cure. It doesn't stay that vibrant color. Then I add my liquid oils and just mix them to incorporate. This olive oil is not my usual olive oil. It is darker than normal. You can see it gives it that green color, but that doesn't really transfer through to the final soap. I'm going to give it a little stick blend and pour off for my colors. I'm separating out for 2 shades of blue, and then this little bit right here in the bottom I'm adding gold to. That's going to be used kind of on top of the cauldron to make the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So here I'm mixing in my colors. I have a light blue and a dark blue. I'm going to do a little bit of an ombre pour and just kind of giving everything a good stir. Then I'm going to stick blend this gold a lot. I don't care about bubbles at this point. I just want this to be super thick because I'm going to actually spoon it into my mold. And here is kind of where I realized that my mold is out of frame really for the video. Like, you can see it, but you can't see down inside it, which is kind of frustrating because a lot of this is about the pour. So here I'm pouring in a little bit of blue for the bottom so there's no bubbles, setting in my cauldron, and then I'm spooning this thick gold, it's almost like a paste consistency at this point, on top of the cauldron in a little raised pattern, just little dollops on top, because I want that to be like the cauldron is heaped with gold coins. It's, the pot of gold that you find at the end of the rainbow. Then I'm slowly and carefully pouring my blue over it and alongside it, and I'm adding a little bit of dark to the light each time, just to make that color a little bit darker with each pour. I kind of want there to be a light to dark gradient as we move up the bar. So adding a little bit more blue, pouring another layer, a little bit more blue, I'm going to pour another little bit of a layer. And after I've poured a few more of these, I'm going to get my Orca Embed. And here I'm just scooping some batter under the bottom fin of the whale. That's an area where air bubbles tend to get trapped. So if I fill it ahead of time, I'll help eliminate any air bubbles. And you do want your batter to be kind of thick at this point so that it supports the weight of the embed. I don't want it to sink. And I'm just going to set it down gently into the middle of the mold. The idea is that like the nose of the whale will just be nosing at the gold coins on top of the cauldron embed. Here I've finished putting in my blue. I'm mixing some titanium dioxide in with some leftover white batter to make a white kind of frothy layer, which is meant to be kind of like the foam on the top of the waves. And I'm just going to kind of loosely stir that in, mix it up a little bit, make a little swirl. Then I'm going to consolidate my cups here, clean them up, and separate out the colors for my rainbow. I'm not really measuring here, I'm just eyeballing this batter. I'm only going to use a little bit of it to make a rainbow on top, and so I just want to divide it evenly between my 6 colors and adding a little bit of mica to each one. You'll see I have a lot more mica mixed than I need. I made several of these loaves, so I wanted to have enough mica mixed all at once, so I didn't have to stop and do that in between each loaf. So here I'm just stirring in my colors. You can see this nice vivid rainbow. These are all colors from Nurture. And I'm just kind of layering a thin little row of each color. I want this to kind of look like the rainbow is ending at kind of the rough breaking waves of the top of the ocean wave. So I'm pouring in each color. I did make these pours a little thicker than I wanted to. The batter was pretty thick at this point, so you'll see in a second here I tilt the mold, kind of scoot them over just to make room to get those last 2 colors in there. I do kind of have a hard time getting the blue and the purple in because the batter is so thick. I sort of end up scooping it in with a spatula. But you can see I'm just kind of pressing it down. I want to try not to get any air bubbles as I layer in this blue layer. Give Put a good little shove in there using my fingers to kind of push it down. Not the tidiest soap technique, but you know, we'll get there in the end. And then using the spatula to kind of try and push the purple down along the edge. That's the last color in my little rainbow here. Then I'm going to give the top a quick swirl just to kind of make something interesting to look at, and it'll go in the oven to C-pop and we'll cut it in the morning. As we move on here to the cut, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe.